All right, let's unpack this. Today, we're going to dive deep into industrial engineering, specifically how to prep for a job interview. If you're aiming to streamline those processes and really boost that efficiency, well, we're here to give you the blueprint for some serious interview success.
It all starts with understanding the core of what industrial engineers do. They're the architects of efficiency. They design systems. Big ones, small ones, doesn't matter. Production lines, office workflows, anything you can think of. They consider everything. People, tech, ergonomics, product specs, the whole 9 yards. It's all about working smarter, not harder.
So that sounds pretty amazing. But what's the reality? What can someone actually expect when they step into this career?
Well, one thing's for sure, high demand. RoleCatcher's career guide shows us that industrial engineering is a field that's just booming. Tons of diverse opportunities and a seriously competitive salary.
Okay, so the potential is there, but how do you convince a hiring manager that you're the one? You mentioned killer interview questions. Let's dive into those. What's the first one we should tackle?
Let's start with a classic. What inspired you to become an industrial engineer? Sounds straightforward, right? But there's an art to answering it well.
Yeah, I can see how people might just default to like a textbook definition or ramble on about coursework. What do interviewers really want to hear?
You want to see that spark, the passion that ignited your interest in this field. Think back to what really captured your imagination.
A specific project, maybe?
Maybe. Or were you blown away by a documentary on automation? Or perhaps inspired by seeing, like, a family member solving those complex problems in a manufacturing setting? Whatever it is, weave those personal experiences into your answer. That's what makes it memorable.
Absolutely. Show them you're not just there for a job. You actually geek out on this stuff. I bet there's a follow-up lurking.
Always. Be ready for something like, what aspects of industrial engineering are you most excited about and why? Hey, now's your chance to showcase your depth. Maybe you're obsessed with robotics and automation, or maybe you're drawn to the human element of optimizing workflows. Whatever it is, let that enthusiasm shine through.
Perfect. So we've nailed the inspiration question. What's next on the interview hit list?
All right, let's tackle another common one. What do you consider to be the most important skills for an industrial engineer? No, you could just list them off. Problem solving, analytical thinking, communication, project management. But that won't really set you apart.
Right. So how do you take it a step further? How do you really impress them?
Explain why those skills are crucial in the context of an industrial engineer's work. Don't just say communication is important. Say something like 8. Clear communication is vital because it allows me to effectively collaborate with different teams. Engineers, technicians, management, clients. It makes sure everyone's on the same page, working towards a common goal.
Ooh, I like that. You're not just throwing out buzzwords. You're really thinking about how those skills translate into real-world action. This seems like a good spot for a well-placed example, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Be prepared for that follow-up. Can you give me a specific example of a time you used one of these skills to overcome a challenge?
All right, so pick a situation, a real obstacle, a project that was behind schedule maybe, or a process full of inefficiencies. Walk them through how you used your industrial engineering skills to save the day.
That's it.
Okay, we've covered 2 of the big ones. Before we jump into more questions, can you give us some context on the career path? What does progression look like in industrial engineering?
Well, one of the best things about industrial engineering is that there's a clear path for growth. RoleCatcher's career guide lays it out really well. You usually start at an entry-level position, maybe assisting in your engineers, gathering data, getting familiar with everything.
It's kind of like an efficiency apprentice.
Yeah, exactly. Then you can move into a junior industrial engineer role where you start flexing those muscles, designing and optimizing systems, maybe even conducting those time and motion studies to pinpoint areas for improvement.
And then, as you gain experience, climb the ladder to those coveted mid-level and senior positions.
That's right. Leading bigger projects, managing teams, mentoring junior engineers, you become the master of efficiency.
I like it. And knowing this progression, that helps you highlight the relevant skills for each stage during an interview.
Absolutely.
Okay, back to those interview questions. What's next?
Let's dive into a behavioral question that can really throw people off. Tell me about a time you had to make a difficult decision in a project. What was your process and what was the outcome?
Ooh, this one sounds tricky. What are they really trying to figure out here?
It's all about assessing your judgment, your problem-solving skills, your leadership qualities. They want to know how you handle pressure, how you make those tough calls when the stakes are high.
So how do you approach this without sounding like you're just trying to make yourself look good?
Honesty and humility are key. Choose a real situation where you faced a difficult situation and had to make a choice. Maybe you had to weigh conflicting priorities, analyze potential risks, or deal with limited resources. Walk them through your process, how you gathered information, considered options, and made the call.
I imagine the outcome is pretty important too, right?
It is.
Did your decision lead to a positive result? What did you learn, even if things didn't go perfectly?
Absolutely. They want to see that you can learn from mistakes, apply those lessons to future challenges, be ready for those follow-ups too. They might ask what you do differently next time, or how you communicated your decision to stakeholders.
So it's not just about the decision itself. It's about owning the process, showing that you're always trying to improve. I like it. Now, before we move on, you mentioned AI in interview prep earlier. RoleCatcher seems to have some pretty amazing tools.
Oh, it's a game changer. RoleCatcher's AI analyzes job descriptions and your resume, and it helps you tailor your answers. It also identifies those sneaky skill gaps you might need to address.
That's wild. It's like having a personal coach who's done all the research.
Yeah.
Okay, what other interview gems have we got? What's next?
Let's tackle a question that often makes people sweat a little bit. How would you approach optimizing a production line that's experiencing bottlenecks and high defect rates?
Okay, that's a tough one. They're definitely trying to see if you can handle a real challenge. Where do you even start with something like that?
It's all about showcasing your systematic approach. First, you acknowledge the problem. You show them you really understand what bottlenecks and defect rates mean in a production environment. Then you outline a clear process for identifying the root cause.
Right, so it's not about jumping to solutions. It's about that analysis, getting to the heart of the problem.
Exactly. This is where those analytical skills we talked about come into play. Mention tools like process mapping, data analysis, root cause analysis. Show them you've got a method.
Okay, so you've identified the root cause of those bottlenecks and defects. What's next?
Time to brainstorm. Get creative and showcase those problem-solving skills. Maybe you propose a Kanban system to improve the workflow, or suggest a workstation redesign to minimize errors.
Would it be helpful to bring up methodologies like Lean Six Sigma or Kaizen here?
Definitely. If you have experience with those, weave them into your answer. It shows you know the industry best practices. You could say something like, based on my experience with Lean Six Sigma, I'd start with a Gemba walk, observe the line firsthand.
And I imagine quantifying your results would be powerful. Did you implement a solution that actually reduced defect rates or boosted throughput, given those numbers?
Absolutely. Those details make your answer much stronger.
Okay, this is starting to click. I'm feeling more confident already. What other interview curveballs should we be ready for?
How about this one? How do you stay up to date with the latest advancements in industrial engineering?
Oh, that's a good one. It's not enough to just have the degree, right? You need to show you're constantly learning and evolving.
Exactly. This is where you mention the specific resources you use. Professional organizations like the Institute of Industrial and Systems Engineers, ISE.
What about publications? Websites, online forums, anything like that?
All excellent resources. Mention the ones you follow regularly, especially if they're relevant to the industry or the specific company you're interviewing for.
Makes sense. Okay, so that's self-directed learning.
Yeah.
What about more formal ways to stay sharp?
Conferences, webinars, workshops, those are fantastic for networking and learning from leaders in the field. And of course, if you've taken any online courses or certifications, mention those too.
Right, so it's a combination of things. Staying curious, being proactive, actively seeking out those opportunities.
Precisely. You're not just content with where you are, you're always pushing yourself to be better.
Now let's bring back that secret weapon, RoleCatcher's AI. You mentioned it analyzes job descriptions and identifies those skill gaps. Can it also help us prepare for these specific questions?
It absolutely can. RoleCatcher takes it a step further. It tailors your answers to the specific job you want. It analyzes the description and provides insights into the exact skills they're looking for.
Wow, so it's like having a personalized cheat sheet.
Exactly. It suggests answers to those common questions, highlighting the key words and phrases that will resonate with the hiring manager.
That's incredible. Okay, I'm eager to hear more. What other interview gems are we diving into?
How about this? Describe a time you had to work as part of a team to achieve a common goal. What role did you play, and what were the challenges and successes?
Okay, this one feels a little less intimidating. What's the key here?
Choose an example where you played a big part in a successful team project. And don't just focus on the good stuff. Challenges happen. Overcoming them together is what makes a team strong.
Right, so it's about showcasing Your collaboration, communication, your ability to contribute, even when things get tough.
Exactly. Be honest about the obstacles, but focus on the solutions and the positive outcomes you achieved as a team. For example, you could say, "We had a major setback when a supplier didn't deliver on time. I took the initiative to contact other suppliers, negotiate expedited shipping, and revise the timeline."
That's great. You're showing them you're proactive, resourceful, and can handle those curveballs. And I bet RoleCatcher's AI can help with this question too, right?
It definitely can. RoleCatcher's AI can analyze your work history. It can pinpoint situations where you demonstrated teamwork, even if you didn't explicitly call it out.
So it's like a memory bank for those moments where you were a team player.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, we're making good progress. What other interview challenges are out there?
Let's tackle the one that makes people squirm. Tell me about a time you failed to meet a deadline. What happened and what did you learn?
Oh, the classic failure question. Everyone makes mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
but it's how you handle them that matters.
Exactly. They want to see accountability, that you can learn and grow from setbacks.
So how do you approach this without making excuses or throwing your teammates under the bus?
Honesty and humility are crucial here. Pick an example where you genuinely faced a challenge and missed a deadline, but frame it in a way that highlights your growth mindset.
So walk them through the situation. Explain what factors contributed to missing that deadline. Were there unforeseen circumstances? Did you underestimate something?
Be specific. Own your part and avoid blaming others. Then, talk about the steps you took to mitigate the impact and the lessons you learned.
Did you improve your time management? Did you develop better communication strategies? Show them you've learned from it.
Exactly. It's not just about what you learned, but how you applied those lessons to future projects.
This is great stuff.
Okay.
What else do we need to be ready for?
How about this? Imagine you're tasked with implementing a new automation system in a manufacturing plant. What are the key considerations and steps you would take?
Okay, this is getting real. It's a real-world scenario that could actually happen on the job.
It is. That's why it's a popular question for industrial engineers. It assesses your understanding of automation systems, your planning and execution skills, and your attention to detail.
All right, so where do we even begin with something as big as implementing a whole new system?
First, demonstrate your understanding of the project's scope. What type of system are we talking about? What are the specific goals? Are we aiming for increased efficiency, improved quality, reduced costs? Get those details clear.
Okay, so we have the context. What's next?
Outline a systematic approach, just like we did with the bottleneck problem. You might mention conducting a needs assessment, evaluating different technologies, considering factors like cost, feasibility, and impact.
It sounds like a lot to juggle. Technical aspects, financial implications, the human element.
Exactly. That's what makes industrial engineering so interesting, finding that optimal solution that balances everything.
Speaking of the human element, that's a big consideration, right?
Yeah.
How will this automation system affect the workforce? Will people need to be retrained?
Absolutely. Addressing those considerations shows you're thinking holistically. You're not just focused on the technology itself. You could say, I would work with HR to develop a training program, ensuring a smooth transition for the employees.
That's a good point. You're showing them you value people, and you understand that technology is only as good as the people using it.
Right. And don't forget about safety. It's paramount, especially with new technology.
So mention those safety protocols and risk assessments you'd put in place.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm feeling pretty good about this one. But before we move on, let's bring back our trusty AI, RoleCatcher. How can it help us with these technical questions?
RoleCatcher's AI is incredibly versatile. It analyzes the job requirements and identifies those key technical skills and knowledge areas. It's like a personalized study guide.
Wow. So it helps us focus our preparation.
Exactly. And it can also provide insights into the company's existing systems and industry best practices. You can tailor your answers to their specific needs and showcase your knowledge of their operations.
Amazing. RoleCatcher is really an invaluable tool. Okay, I'm ready for the next challenge. What else is there?
How about this? How would you approach improving the ergonomics of a workstation to reduce the risk of injuries?
Ergonomics. Designing those workspaces that are comfortable, efficient, and safe.
Exactly. This question digs into the intersection of industrial engineering and ergonomics. They're assessing your understanding of workplace safety and your ability to create human-centered solutions.
We need to show them that it's not just about maximizing output. It's about a healthy and sustainable work environment, too.
Exactly. Start by acknowledging the importance of ergonomics in preventing injuries and boosting productivity. It's a win-win for everyone.
Okay, and then what?
Outline your approach to assessing the workstation. Mention conducting an ergonomic evaluation, observing workers, and using assessment tools to find those potential risk factors.
Like a detective investigation, but for workplace hazards.
That's a great way to think about it. You're looking for those clues that might point to a problem. A chair that's too low, a monitor that's too far away, repetitive motions.
Okay, so once you've identified those risks, what's next?
It's time for solutions. Mention specific ergonomic principles, adjusting workstation height, providing back support, minimizing repetitive motions, ensuring proper lighting and ventilation.
And I'm guessing involving the workers is key.
Absolutely. Get their feedback, incorporate their suggestions, make sure those solutions are practical and address their needs.
It's all about collaboration.
Oh.
Okay, let's see if RoleCatcher can add anything to this ergonomics question.
RoleCatcher's AI is a goldmine for workplace safety info. It can access a huge database of best practices and industry standards. You can tailor your answers to the company's specific protocols.
Like a digital ergonomic consultant.
And it can even suggest successful ergonomic interventions from other companies, helping you demonstrate your knowledge and experience.
RoleCatcher really is a game changer. All right, what else should we be prepared for?
Let's dive into a question all about efficiency methodologies. Describe your experience with lean manufacturing principles and how you've applied them in your previous roles.
Lean. Eliminating waste, streamlining processes, maximizing value.
That's it. This question dives into one of the most popular methodologies in the field. They're assessing your practical experience with implementing lean principles.
So if you've got lean experience, this is your time to shine.
Absolutely. Start with a concise overview of lean manufacturing. Highlight those core principles: eliminating waste, continuous improvement, and focusing on customer value.
Right, so it's not just about cutting costs. It's about a culture of improvement and delivering the best possible product or service.
Exactly. And once you've laid that groundwork, choose specific examples from your past roles where you applied lean principles and made a real difference.
Did you implement a 5S program to organize a workplace? Did you use value stream mapping to find and eliminate those bottlenecks? What about Kaizen events?
All excellent examples. And don't forget to quantify your results. Show them those lean initiatives made a real impact.
So instead of saying, we improved efficiency,
Yeah.
we could say, we implemented a 5S program and reduced inventory search time by 20%.
Now you're talking. Those numbers really make a difference.
Okay, this is making so much sense. I'm starting to see how these questions are really opportunities to showcase your skills. And I bet RoleCatcher's AI can help us polish our lean expertise even further, right?
RoleCatcher is like a lean sensei in digital form. Its AI can analyze the job description, identify those keywords related to lean, and help you tailor your answers.
So it's like having a cheat sheet that tells you exactly what they want to hear.
Exactly. And it can even suggest relevant examples from similar industries, helping you show your knowledge of best practices.
Wow, RoleCatcher really does it all.
Okay.
I'm feeling prepared for those lean questions. What else is on the radar?
Let's talk about your people skills. Be ready for this question. How do you handle conflicts or disagreements within a team?
Conflict. It's bound to happen.
It is. This question is about your interpersonal skills, how you navigate those tricky situations, and your commitment to a positive team environment.
So we need to show them we're not afraid of a little constructive criticism, that we can handle disagreements professionally.
Right. Start by acknowledging that conflict happens, especially when passionate people work together. Then, emphasize open and respectful communication, active listening, understanding different perspectives, finding that common ground.
It's not about avoiding conflict. It's about approaching it the right way.
Exactly. Highlight your specific strategies. Do you facilitate open discussions? Use mediation techniques. Focus on win-win solutions. Give them concrete examples from your past.
So instead of just saying, I'm good at resolving conflicts, you could say something like, I try to understand each team member's perspective, identify the root cause, and then facilitate a discussion where everyone feels heard.
Exactly. That shows leadership and your ability to create a productive environment.
Okay, I'm feeling like I could write a book on acing these interviews. What else have you got?
Let's tackle the question that everyone dreads. What are your salary expectations?
Oh yeah, that one. It always feels a bit awkward.
It can, but the key is preparation. Know your worth. Research beforehand to figure out a salary range that aligns with your experience and skills.
And I bet RoleCatcher can help here too.
Absolutely. RoleCatcher's Salary Insights tool provides data on average salaries for similar roles. It takes the guesswork out of it.
Like a digital salary negotiator.
Exactly. It also gives you guidance on how to discuss your expectations during the interview, highlighting things like your qualifications, the company's location, and the specific responsibilities.
That's fantastic. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. Anything else before we wrap up?
Yes, let's talk about practice. You might have all the right answers, but if you stumble over your words or lack confidence, it can hurt you.
It's not just what you say,
Yeah.
it's how you say it.
Right. And RoleCatcher's AI can really help here. It has a video practice feature where you can record yourself answering questions and get feedback.
Wow, so it's like a virtual interview coach.
Exactly. It gives you insights into your eye contact, facial expressions, posture, speaking pace. It helps you project confidence.
And it analyzes the content of your answers, too.
It does. It can suggest improvements to your structure, clarity, and language.
This is incredible.
By practicing with RoleCatcher's AI, you can refine your delivery and feel much more confident going into that interview.
This is really helpful. Okay, before we move on, let's recap. What are the essential points to remember?
When answering technical questions, showcase your systematic approach and attention to detail. Show them you can apply those industrial engineering principles.
For behavioral questions, choose examples that highlight your skills, experience, and growth.
Always quantify your achievements with specifics.
And leverage RoleCatcher's AI. Research salaries, tailor your answers, practice your delivery.
Those are the keys to success.
Okay, I'm ready for the final push. What other challenges are waiting for us?
All right, let's tackle a question that's all about you. What are your strengths and weaknesses as an industrial engineer?
Oh, strengths and weaknesses. Feels like a bit of a trap sometimes.
It can, but it's also a chance to showcase your self-awareness and your commitment to improvement.
Okay, so how do you balance that? Highlight your awesomeness without sounding arrogant, but also acknowledge areas for growth without seeming unqualified.
When it comes to strengths, choose qualities that are genuinely you and relevant to the job.
Right, so what are your superpowers?
Are you a master problem solver? Can you untangle any process? Do you have a knack for data analysis, seeing patterns others miss? Are you a natural leader?
So pick your superpowers and make sure they match what the company needs.
Exactly, and don't just say it, prove it. Instead of, I'm a great communicator, give them a specific example. In my previous role, I led cross-functional teams to implement a new process, using clear communication and regular updates to keep everyone aligned.
That's a much stronger statement.
Now, about those weaknesses, this is where people trip up, but it's actually a chance to show your growth mindset.
So avoid those cliches, right? I'm a perfectionist, I work too hard.
Exactly. Choose a real area where you're trying to improve. Maybe you get lost in the details sometimes, or you're working on being a more confident public speaker.
It's about framing it positively. You're aware of the areas for growth, and you're taking action.
Right. You could say, I'm detail-oriented, which is great for industrial engineering, but I know it can make me lose sight of the bigger picture, so I'm working on prioritization techniques.
That's great. You're acknowledging a weakness, but also showing how you're overcoming it.
It shows you're a lifelong learner.
All right, strengths and weaknesses, check. What else is coming our way?
Get ready for your closing argument. Why should we hire you for this role?
Okay, this feels high pressure. It's our chance to really drive it home.
It is. Connect your skills, experience, and passion to their specific needs.
So how do we deliver that knockout punch?
Start by showing them you understand their goals and challenges. You've done your research.
Right, you're not just applying to any job.
Yeah.
You're interested in them specifically.
Then connect your skills and experience to the job requirements. Highlight specific examples from your past. Show them how you've tackled similar problems.
So it's not just I am qualified. It's here's how I can help you succeed.
And don't forget that passion. Let your enthusiasm for industrial engineering shine through.
Okay, so we've got the what, the why, and the wow factor. Anything else?
Be concise, focused, and enthusiastic. Give them a clear reason to choose you.
This is great advice. Now, there's one last question we need to be ready for, and it's often the last one they ask. Do you have any questions for us?
A lot of people stumble on this,
Sure.
but it's a chance to show your curiosity and engagement.
It's not just a formality, it's another opportunity.
Prepare thoughtful questions in advance. Show them you've done your homework.
What kind of questions would really stand out?
Ask about their company culture, their approach to innovation, or the specific projects you'd be working on.
I like that. You're showing them you're looking for the right fit, not just any job.
And don't be afraid to ask about the next steps. It shows you're proactive.
This is fantastic. I'm feeling so much more prepared to handle these interviews.
Right.
Before we wrap up, let's talk more about RoleCatcher's AI for interview practice. How does it help refine our delivery and project that confidence?
It's like having a personal coach. You record yourself answering questions and then get personalized feedback on your performance.
So it's about more than just the right answers. It's about how we present ourselves.
Exactly. RoleCatcher's AI looks at everything: eye contact, expressions, posture, tone, pace.
Like a digital mirror that shows us how we come across.
And it analyzes the content, too, offering suggestions to improve clarity and structure.
Amazing. It's like having a whole team of experts in your corner.
By practicing with RoleCatcher, you can go into that interview feeling confident and ready to shine.
So there you have it, folks. Your industrial engineer interview prep deep dive. Insightful questions, expert guidance, and the power of RoleCatcher's AI. You've got the skills, you've got the knowledge, and now you've got the tools. Go out there and ace that interview.
And make those production lines sing.